What's the Ron Pinkerton win-win-win strategy?
It is a strategy where your customer wins, you win, and also every employee that works for you wins as well.
That sounds like it's too good to be true.
Time off, productivity, and money all go together. Those are all motivational factors, okay? You also have to take care of your customer. Everybody should win. If you feel like, wow, I really got them on this deal, that kind of business strategy does not last forever. And you need that integrity in your business.
All right, joining me now is Ron Pinkerton. He's a CEO, a founder, a sports guy, a sports apparel guy, which I think is so interesting, and a Texan. I can't wait to hear some long, tall Texas sayings from this guy. And I already told him I was going to debate him a little bit. So welcome to my show, Ron. I'm so thrilled to meet you and to have you here. I know you said this was your first time ever on a podcast.
Yes, it is.
But I don't think it's your first time talking to a nice lady.
And a nice looking lady.
Well, there you go. Thank you for that. I kind of asked for that.
Yes, you did.
All right. So I always start with a cold question. So here's your cold question.
Okay.
You built a sports apparel company from the ground up, and then in the last couple of years, you made a successful exit.
I did.
What comes after the sale for somebody who has worked so hard to build something so successful? Do you just ride off in the sunset like a tall Texas cowboy, or do you start something new?
Well, when I sold it, I did not see the horse out front. So I'm assuming that you don't get on it and ride off, okay? But it's hard, it's difficult, but you start preparing yourself if you do it right before you actually sell your business, okay? And you kind of, I put together a plan on what I wanted to do before I sold it, but it never really turns out exactly like that. So, but I do consulting, okay? And I stayed in the same field. And the people that I actually sold the business to, they actually needed some help because they bought another business that was in a different product line, for high school bands. So I was able to take the same experience that I did for them and help them with that for about a year. But now I'm looking to do other things now, okay? Because what you don't want to do as an entrepreneur, you really don't want to feel like you're an employee.
Right.
You want to have that flexibility and the independence of being your own boss.
Yeah.
And so I was able to do that, and everybody was okay with that.
And I imagine you don't translate to retirement well either.
I'm not going to retire.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to retire.
I would assume, just knowing you for about 15 minutes, that retirement is a 4-letter word for you.
It is, yes. I just don't believe, I have a lot of, I got a lot of juice left. I mean, I've got a lot of brain power. I've done a lot of things in my lifetime that I think that experience can pay off. And, you do create value, and I think that's valuable. Experience, you don't have to work 40 hours a week on specific projects to make major impacts for companies.
Yeah. And
all that experience, you can save time. You can speed the things up for people with your experience and your knowledge, and that's worth something. Okay?
Yeah, I think they call that condensing time now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a term for it. I learned something.
All right. A while ago, you told me a Ron Pinkerton quote: "If it ain't on paper, it ain't going to work." Tell me what you mean by that.
Well, that's just something that I developed because one time I did do something against my good nature. And when I say that, I mean, if the numbers don't work on paper, it probably won't work out, okay? It's not that the idea or the concept won't work, because a lot of them will. And there's a lot of times when you have a concept or an idea, you don't really get it all on paper. You just feel, you have the feeling and the knowledge that you know that this is something that's needed, and you feel like you can make it work. But I still believe that you have to always take that idea and that concept, and you got to get it on paper somehow, okay? So I had a vending business that I was going to be really good at, and my wife and I, we started that business, and when I ran the numbers, it was like, something's not right about these numbers, because the bottom line wasn't looking really good. But I was in a transition where I was going from one situation into another. I wanted to get into something. And so against my good judgment, I went ahead and did it. And those vending machines stayed in my garage probably for many months after I closed the business, and I finally gave them away. So that was a hard lesson I learned about getting things on paper and seeing if it financially works out.
So when you say getting it on paper, I assume you mean like you've got to map out the details, you've got to have a plan, you've got to get down to the specifics of the deal.
Yeah, it's the execution. You have to take the dream and the plan, capture it on paper, and then you have to come up with an execution plan.
Yeah.
And part of the execution plan is to look and see if it's financially viable.
Yeah. How do you balance the concept of, getting down to the details of it and getting your plan together versus kind of the go mode? Like, can you get bogged down in too many details and bogged down in too much planning and forget to go and execute?
Yeah, timing is a factor, okay? Everything in life is about timing, honestly. The time to get in, time to get out, time to not get in, time to not get out. So you have to not miss that. Yes, you have to put together enough information that you feel comfortable with it, but you have to also seize the moment. And you have to, if the moment becomes available, you have to go for it. But I still like to make sure that I'm a scenario guy. So in everything that I've done in building all these businesses, I go scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3. Or if I need 10 scenarios, I keep going with the scenarios until I get the one that I feel really comfortable with.
Yeah.
So I put a lot of time in the details.
Yeah. So what would you say was the key to, I'm overarching global question here, the key to your success? Number one, global key to your success.
It's called win-win-win strategy.
All right. What's the Ron Pinkerton win-win-win strategy?
It is a strategy where your customer wins, you win, and also every employee that works for you wins as well.
All right. That sounds like it's too good to be true. Tell me how you make that happen.
Well, no. I tell you, it goes along with, I don't care how much you know until I know how much you care. If you are in a business where it's very highly employee driven and your success is going to depend on whether or not that workforce is going to work for you, which I was the apparel manufacturing business counts on a lot of sewers, a lot of people that are on the machine, and they're sewing every day, all day long, okay? And so if you don't really make that group happy and successful and profitable, they need to, when they go home, they need to feel like my life has changed by working for this company. And if they're feeling that way, you don't ever have to be worried about they're going to give you the effort. They're always going to give you effort. And if you link them and tie them into the success of the business, monetarily, and also with, it's not just money, it's about time off, productivity, and money all go together. Those are all motivational factors, okay? Mm-hmm. So you have to take care of that part of your business. You also have to take care of your customer. They have to feel like when they give you the products, you're going to execute it and give them the results that they needed, okay? And so I have to win also. So that's where putting together the right plan where that all happens. It doesn't always happen the first time, but you keep working till you get that part of it right.
Whenever you first started your apparel company, you had All Sports Apparel, you had All Star Sports Apparel. What problem were you trying to solve by getting into the apparel business?
Okay. That specific one, because I did many of them. Okay, so I spent 50 years in the apparel business. Okay. So first,
we could go all the way back.
We could go way back,
all
but
the way back.
Well, my mom, she worked 46 years, and it was more like the movie Norma Rae. Have you ever remember the movie Norma Rae?
Yeah.
She worked in the factory. They went to the same factory in a little small town in Water Valley, Mississippi. They went to the factory every day, did the same job every day, and they went home and took care of their families. Okay, so I tried to mirror my businesses, and it was a family event. Okay, so I tried to mirror my business. I did mirror my business based on that little small sampling that I had of it should be family oriented. Okay, the problem I was specifically trying to solve in the cheerleading business is in the United States in the later 80s, okay, in the 90s, people did not want to go to work in a garment factory, okay? So they wanted to not do that. Give me my computer and give me a better job. They didn't want to sew. So I ended up going all the way out of the United States to find labor, which was in the Dominican Republic, okay? So for the company I was working for, they had a lot of really small contractors around the United States, but people were retiring and people were not getting back into the garment business. So they could not expand and grow their business because they didn't have people, the manufacturing blueprint was leaving, okay? And so we were able to go offshore, find a labor pool, and increase their manufacturing footprint, which allowed them to grow their business and expand their business. And we were able to do that. And so we took that situation and I worked for a lot of different companies, but I always went with the same concept of how can we make this better? What's not going on now that we can make it better?
So when you first started the All-Star Sports and the All-Star or All Sports Apparel, how did you make it better?
Well, we I put 1,200 people sewing their fabrics, but
so was it a price differentiation?
No, it was
quality
more.
differentiation?
It was capacity. Okay.
Capacity.
So in other words,
Gotcha.
they didn't have the capacity to grow their business.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, quicker, faster turn times. So I
Gotcha.
combined a lot of things that I learned: team sewing, modular manufacturing, and all of that, along with a more available labor pool, to really enhance their business and make it better.
Gotcha.
It was more of a capacity thing than anything,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
And people not wanting to sew garments.
Right. The people in America
In
not
America.
wanting to do those
That's
jobs.
right.
And so you went and found a place where people would want to
And
do
it's
the
not
jobs.
easy. It's still not easy. And that is an industry where you cannot automate. You have to have hands-on because fabric has much flexibility that has to be guided underneath complicated sewing machines. And it's really something that's going to be very hard to ever make AI make a garment.
Oh, that's interesting. Even today, it's not automated.
It's not going to be. There's a lot of it that's automated. So if you look at denim jeans, when you have a back pocket on there, there's a machine that'll automatically sew it on there. But when you get into all kinds of complicated fabrics, which have characteristics where they're very stretchy, and it just, you can't make a computer.
I like them when they're stretchy.
I do too. Mine is stretchy, okay? But it's not conducive to being able to do that. You need a person to guide that through.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. How did you get funding when you first started?
Interesting. Well, at the end of it, I had a lot of funding, and I needed it. Just when I started off, the company that I was helping, they funded me some upfront cash money. Okay, they helped me get equipment, and I got my start. They helped me get started because I spent 7 years helping them make their business better. So I had built a trust with them, and so they allowed me, because of all my experience working out of the USA, they said, we're gonna help you, Ron. And they helped themselves, and they helped me, and I got started that way.
So you would agree then that nobody ever gets anywhere by themselves.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Help enough other people get where they want, and they'll help you get where you want.
Well, I exactly read that book.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, Zig Ziglar.
Okay? And I'm amongst a lot of books, but a lot of things that Zig had in there, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Love some of that too.
But so that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing. My wife gave me that book many, many years ago when we first got married.
Yeah.
She was a salesperson, and I put it to heart. And
Sharon
it actually
Lecter's
worked.
Think and Grow Rich for women too.
Yep.
So was there ever a time when you almost quit?
No.
No.
Nope.
Just flat out no.
No.
Ever a time when you doubted yourself?
Interesting. Doubting myself. Yes, but you know what? There's this one premise that I learned from a boss of mine when I had an opportunity to take a bigger job, and it was much bigger than what I thought I could do. He said the thing you fear the most is the next thing you need to do.
Ooh.
So I kind of used that, and I kind of jumped out there, and I was fearful, okay? And I got over it, and it worked. And once you do it, and once you get over that, and you realize that it was unfounded, and you had more experience, and you need to rely on yourself more.
Do you think that people who use fear as fuel like you did, that's a differentiating factor for success?
No.
No. What do you think is the differentiating factor for successful people?
Oh, well, I think first, hard work and discipline and gifts, discovering your gift, and then nurturing your gifts and educating yourself. And you have to be born with a certain amount of desire, I think, okay? I mean, there's a reason why you play shortstop rather than first base, okay?
Oh, that's a good one.
I mean, you're driven. You're a person that's you keep everybody in line. There's a man on third. There's 2 outs. What are we going to do? I mean, you're just kind of born with some of those things, and you develop and enhance them. Okay, rather than I think you just got to enhance what you have. But I tell you, I didn't graduate college. I went to community college. I played a little baseball, but you have to find your gift. So what I did was, in working, I found my gift. Then once you find your gift, you have to educate and grow and make your gift better. But the key's finding your gift. And you can find it many different ways. It's not just one way to find it.
What do you think your toughest moment was as a founder?
Toughest moment as a founder.
I think as founders, I'm a founder and an entrepreneur myself. I don't think we're accustomed to looking at it that way. Like I would have trouble answering that question too, right? Because we don't look back at failures or tough moments, like we just plow through, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think for people out there who are, maybe in their tough moments or in their struggles, like it's always helpful to think through and think of, when you were in that struggle, what it was like to go through it or how you got through it. Like what was your coping mechanism to get through the tough time? Surely you went through the crash of '08 or, some of the struggles of the economies or things like that whenever you were in business.
We went through COVID and we had to shut down, and I had to learn how to do business differently, okay?
Yeah.
That was definitely a challenging time. And you have to worry about the health concern you have about that many people.
Sure.
And you have to develop ways that you can, but you have to also continue and do business.
Mm-hmm.
And we did not go out of business, okay? We made it through that, and we're very profitable in the years after that. So I think that's one of them. But I think one of the hardest things for me to do was we started Under Armour football products, and when it didn't go as well as I thought. It hurt me that we weren't as successful as we should have been in our first year.
Yeah.
And so you go through a lot of pain. It was painful for me because I wasn't used to losing, okay? And so, but in losing, you learn a lot. And if you lose business.
What did you learn?
Well, I learned that they were kind of all right with it because they realized the effort that we were all putting into it and that our heart was in the right place and we wanted to do a really good job. And they weren't as hurt about it as I was.
Why do you think that you weren't as successful that first year as you had anticipated?
Well, I didn't anticipate some things about the difficulty of the products that it was more difficult than I thought it was going to be.
Okay. So you didn't anticipate some hurdles, maybe?
I didn't anticipate some hurdles that we had to get over.
Was there anything that you could have thought through better or thought through differently that could have anticipated the hurdles, you think, in hindsight?
Yeah, I think sometimes one of the most important things that you do in business is identify people's talent and match it to the needs. And I think maybe I should have analyzed the person that I had to run the whole operation. I might have misslotted that person, and that didn't help that person or help me.
Yeah. That's interesting. Teamwork issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and leadership.
Yeah.
You got to have the right leadership.
Right.
And leadership means that when things get hard, you don't just yell at people. You have to develop people. You know,
Right.
and you have to control yourself a little bit.
How do you think in hindsight you could have maybe made those selections or choices differently or developed that person differently?
I think I had to balance not offering someone a position that was working so hard to help me throughout so many years.
Yeah.
With maybe they weren't the right person slotted, okay? And so I would have to teach myself to take some of the hard out of it, you know, and look at it more generically.
That's always hard, I think, as a leader of a company or a leader of an organization. You want to promote your people and you want them to excel and
Correct.
and do better for themselves. But I think there's also a balance between recognizing their strengths and maybe their lack of strengths in a particular area.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
And our job is to clear the path. You know, my job.
Yeah.
I have to, if there are constraints in management, it's my job to clear that path so that progress can be made.
Sure.
And you have to make those tough decisions. A little later on, I had to make a tough decision about someone that had been with me a long time.
Right.
But I had to let them go.
And you want to have loyalty, but you also have to put your company first.
That is correct.
And
think about all the other people.
Yeah, you have to put your other people, your other employees first. You have to put your profits, your board, your whatever. You have to put all of that first.
And I say, in your management staff, in your administration, it only takes one person to block a lot of progress.
That's true, right? I mean, what is it? My mom would say, one bad apple spoils a bunch.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's a good
right.
one. You haven't given me very many Texas wisdoms yet, you know. Well. So how do you know, I'm going to give you a Kenny Rogers-ism here, all right? How do you know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk, and know when to run?
80% details and 20% gut.
Okay.
Not 80% gut and 20% details.
All right.
I let the information tell me one thing, and then use the other 20% to make the judgment.
So whenever you started your company, did you start it with the exit in mind, or did you start it, build it, and then did your gut kind of tell you when it was time to exit?
Good question. Okay. A very good question. I did not start it with the idea of when I would end it. No. But I tell you, I had it for 15 years there. And but about 6 or 7 years into it, I met a lady that gave me a really good book about not falling in love with your business, okay, and being able to be objective and look at it and understand that timing issue, okay, and think about what you're going to do when you sell it. I mean, So I studied and read about that for many years there during that process, and you just have to, in your spirit, you have to understand when the time is right, and you have to read also a good book by Stephen Covey is called The Speed of Trust, okay? And if your customer, the people that are giving you the business, okay, you have to have a trust relationship with them, because if they don't give me the volume of business that I needed to be successful in the years, then I wouldn't be successful. It doesn't matter how good I was, okay?
Right.
So when you start to read, you read tea leaves and you look and you see, are things changing? And you have to kind of look forward in your business, okay? And start understanding when the time is right.
Yeah. You said something about the emotion that you would have in your business. I mean, was it hard to think about selling your business? To me, I would think you've kind of created this thing that's almost like your child or your baby.
Without question. It was not easy, okay? Because all these people are very important to me. They still are. And the teams that you build and the connections that you have, even the people, I would go out into the lines and take flowers to the ladies whenever their son or daughter had a birthday. And of course I had that on the information form given to me, but and you build that connection with people. And even the least, you know all of the people. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
And so it was very difficult.
Do you, did you
But
ever?
you have to be objective.
Well, of course. You have to maintain your objectivity.
Yes.
Even when you get down to the exit, right?
Correct.
Now I forgot my question. See what you did to me?
Whoa.
See what you did to me? All the charm and everything. What is the best book that you've ever read for business advice?
Business advice. Well, there's been a lot of them, okay? During COVID, I read one called Blue Ocean Strategy.
Ooh,
okay?
that's a good one.
And I felt like that was the perfect book for the moment that I was in, because I was off so long that I would go every day and I would read and study, and I redeveloped a new blueprint for my business during that time frame. And I was able to sit back and analyze what we're doing, what was good, what was bad, what needed to change. So that was a real good one, okay?
Yeah.
Just from a business standpoint, yeah.
What do you think has been the best personal growth book that you've read?
Come Back and Beyond. It's very good, okay?
Yeah.
That was a really good one. John Maxwell, I did a lot of reading from John Maxwell, okay? A lot of his books.
Yeah, 100%.
And personal development, okay?
Do you think reading books like that has had a huge impact on you as a leader, as a business person?
Yeah, I do. I'm a person of faith as well. So I put a lot of that into my management style. And I have been very gifted, I've been very blessed and very fortunate. I've had a lot of favor. So I've read a lot of good books. Joseph Prince has a lot of good books that I've read.
What about fiction? Do you read any fiction books?
Gosh, I don't read much fiction.
Don't read much fiction.
No.
I remember my other question. My question was, a lot of times women, when I talk to women business leaders, women founders, one of the questions that they always want to talk about is life balance. How to balance family, how to balance business, how to balance time with family, time with work. And especially where you've had a business overseas with this international component. Was life balance ever something that was a concern for you as a male business leader?
Oh, yeah. Yes, it was.
Talk to me about that.
Well, not when I had my business was actually better for me, because I would go to one place, and that's where I built my business at. We had an apartment there, so I could take my wife with me. And so she traveled with me, which made it really nice, okay?
Yeah.
In the earlier years before I had my business, I had to travel a lot overseas, China, different, Asia, all over Mexico. And that was difficult. And I kind of had to move as well with the business. Our business went through a lot of metamorphosis, where we started in Dominican, and then NAFTA came, and it went all into Mexico, and then the WTO passed, and everybody was doing work in China. And so I was in the apparel business big time, and so I had to go with all that.
Yeah.
So my family had to move, and it was hard on them, my kids, my two girls, being in different schools. And it was hard for them.
Yeah. Did you ever have to navigate personal crisis and then still keep going with your business and that kind of thing too?
Yes, I have. I've had to do that.
How did you get through that?
It wasn't easy. You have to have really major focus. You have to be able to compartmentalize yourself. When you're home, you have a responsibility. When you're away and you're at work, you have a responsibility there. So, and if you're out of the country and you have events going on, it makes it even more difficult, okay?
Yeah.
But you just have to pray a lot, and you have to compartmentalize your thoughts.
Yeah.
When you go to work, you've got to be at work.
Right. And I like that, because I like that you pointed that out, because I think presence is so important. And I think now that we all have our cell phones and we have our email all the time and we have our social media and everything, I think that so often, our work infiltrates our home and our home infiltrates our work. And it's real easy to not be present wherever we're at.
I totally agree.
And I think that it makes it difficult when you're at work. I think you should be present at work, whether you're traveling or not, right? And
Totally
when you're
agree.
at home, I think you should be at home. And when you're at your kids' choir practice, you should be at your kids' choir practice,
Totally agree with you.
And all of those things deserve that priority.
Yes, I agree.
I think that
Without question.
that one of the things that is, I guess, a core belief for me or a fundamental thing is that you can't, and I'm asking if you agree with this, but I think you probably do from what I know of you so far, that you can't be as successful as you should be as a business person if you're not also focusing on being successful at home as well.
Oh, yes, ma'am. You're correct.
Yeah.
It's the level of, you can't contain that level of emotion if you're worried, if you're not being balanced. You can't carry that emotion with you and get on a plane and go all the way to the Dominican Republic and then go work all week and then go home. You've got to be able to, handle that. You've got to be able to deal with it,
Yeah.
And, it's not easy sometimes,
Right.
It's not.
Right.
It's not easy.
Right.
No, it's not easy.
And we see these folks who, and I think we're all guilty of this, right? I mean, this isn't a judgment at all, because I think we all have this issue, but you're so focused on a deadline at work, or you've got this priority or that priority, but your kiddo has a softball game or a event at school or something, and you really need to finish this thing at work, but you really need to be at this thing at the school. And, it's a balance or a juggle or a whatever. And it's really hard to do that, but your kiddo deserves that minute, that hour.
I agree with you. As an owner, I committed myself to doing that. So therefore, it's easier for me to understand workers when they have to go and do things for their kids and everything. So that's why I don't like working people a lot of overtime. And I came up with the ways where if you would give me 30% more productivity, I don't want you in here on Saturday. In fact, in one company, I forbid them to work on Saturday. And just come in on Monday, work real hard Friday. Go spend time with your family, have that time. But when you come in on Monday, I want all of you, okay? Give me the extra 20%, and I will reward you with time off and a bonus. So
Yeah, I like that.
And
I like that.
But you have to, the way I explain it to people is when you come through the front door to go to work, it's like you're going through that x-ray machine, and anything that you brought from the outside is the laser is going to take all that off of you, and you're going to go inside and you're going to work and you're going to be focused in there. Everybody loves you in here. We're focused on work, okay? But then when you go out and do the same thing, go through the x-ray machine and leave it all inside there, all that work, and then go home and enjoy your family.
Yeah. I think Grant Cardone is in there speaking at the Aspire conference right now, and having some experience in his universe. One of the things when you go to Grant Cardone's place of business that they say when you're there at 9 o'clock at Grant Cardone's place is, welcome to work.
That's right.
And I like that.
That's
It's
right.
so simple.
Yes.
It's so simple, but it is a denotation of you're at work now.
You're here now.
You're leaving all of that other at the
Correct.
door.
That's correct.
Whatever your personal stuff is, we all got it. We all
That's
got
right.
personal shit going on, right?
That's correct.
You had a fight with your girlfriend, you having trouble paying your light bill, like whatever all that shit is that we all have going on.
Right.
We're going to leave it there.
That's right.
And we're going to be at work, and we're going to focus on work. Welcome to work.
Welcome to work. I'll tell you what I did, which was really kind of rare in my business. Everybody likes to play the music. Well, everybody's sewing and the music's blaring, okay? But it's the okay, somebody shot my dog on the way to work and run off with my girlfriend on the same time.
Yep, negative stuff.
And I'm going, I don't want all that. I want you to focus. We're doing really highly complicated cheerleading uniforms that are unique, and so I want you focus on what we're doing. And so it was no music. And we're in the Dominican Republic, which they like to play the music very loud, and they love to dance.
Yeah.
But no music. So it's kind of the same thing you're talking
keep
about.
the focus.
Yep.
Keep the focus. Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Welcome to work.
I mean, I agree with you. I think that you just have to, you have to stay in the box you're in.
Correct. That's correct.
And but I was very intrigued the first time I was at the Cardone place, and they do several things like that are interesting. But that one very simple welcome to work, 3 words, just so simple.
Right.
Welcome to work. It's very simple.
Yep. You have arrived.
Yep.
Here at work.
Just that simple line drawn.
I like it. Yeah.
All right. So what is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Well, my dad gave it to me. Okay. My dad was an entrepreneur back in the 30s and 40s. He used to buy timber and cut the timber and then sell the land, and he was an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And in doing that, he had to deal with property owners, and he had a big company called Warehouser that would buy all the timber and everything. So he said in every negotiation, in every deal, it goes back to there should be a winner. Everybody should win, okay? And so I took that same strategy, and I've used it throughout my career.
I like that.
If you feel like, wow, I really got them on this deal, that's not going to last. That kind of business strategy does not last forever. You need a long-lasting business, and you need that integrity in your business.
Yeah. You want to know what the best piece of advice I ever got was?
I would love to know.
Since you haven't given me much Texas wisdom, I'm going to give you one.
All right. Okay.
This is from my mama.
Okay.
So I wrote this book called Wisdom from Mama. And my mama was quite the Texas lady. So she used to tell me, she'd say, Michelle, don't be cattle. Because you know what happens when you're cattle? I'm asking you, do you know what happens when you're cattle?
What's that?
Well, when you're cattle, you follow the cow in front of you. And you know what happens when you follow the cow in front of you?
Probably going to get slaughtered.
Well, you're going to follow the ass in front of you all the way to the slaughterhouse, and then you're going to become a hamburger in between lettuce and tomato on a sesame seed bun. That's literally what my mama would tell me.
That's good.
That's right. That's right. Now, the reason she would tell me that is because, when you follow people around, you just following somebody's ass around, and you're not going to be a leader.
That's exactly right.
That's right. So
you either lead, follow, or get out of the way.
Well, there you go. There you go. So, I think her point was don't follow.
Don't follow. She took that off the table.
Yeah, she took that one off the table.
Good.
It was either
That's
lead
really
or go do your thing by yourself, but don't follow.
That's right. That's good advice.
Don't
great
follow
advice.
the ass in front of you.
I'm going to keep that. Okay?
See, I gave you a piece of Texas wisdom there.
I'm going to do it.
All right, final question. We got to have the final Jeopardy question, right? For $10,000 or 10,000 Monopoly money.
I hope this is easy.
It's not. Have I asked you an easy question yet?
No.
Okay. None of us know how much time we have left. And if God said today was it and today's your last day, what would you want your legacy to be known for?
Well, good father, good husband, and an honest person that treated everybody fairly. Just a good guy.
I like that. I like that. You're a good guy. You're a good man, Charlie Brown.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me, Ron Pinkerton. I appreciate you being willing to do this on the fly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.